Have you ever longed for something so deeply it hurt? That ache, that emptiness can feel overwhelming, like a silent cry echoing in your heart day after day. Sometimes it's a longing for love, for acceptance, or for something you feel is missing in your life. In Genesis 30, we meet a family torn by envy and yearning. Two sisters, Rachel and Leah, both married to Jacob. Their home is filled with tension, silent glances, and unspoken words, as each woman wrestles with her own pain and desires. Leah has children but craves Jacob's love. Rachel has his love but aches for a child. Each sister is desperate for what the other has, believing it will finally make her whole. Their rivalry is more than sibling competition. It's a battle of the heart, fueled by deep insecurity and longing. Their rivalry turns motherhood into a contest, using their handmaids as surrogates and even bargaining over a simple plant. The struggle for worth and fulfillment leads them down complicated, sometimes painful paths, as they try to control what only God can give. This story isn't just ancient drama. It's a mirror for our own struggles with comparison and impatience. How often do we measure our worth by what others have or by what we lack? We, too, can get caught in cycles of envy, believing happiness is just out of reach. When we try to force God's hand, we often create more pain. Our attempts to control outcomes can leave us feeling even more empty, frustrated, and alone, as we chase after things that may not be meant for us, at least not yet. Yet, through all the mess, God quietly weaves grace into their lives, hearing their cries and responding in His perfect timing. Even when everything seems broken, He is at work, bringing hope and healing in unexpected ways. Let's step into this story and discover the hope it offers for our own journeys. No matter how desperate our cries, there is always a possibility for redemption, for new beginnings, and for grace to meet us right where we are. Rachel's desperation erupts, her voice trembling as she cries out, "Give me children or else I die." In her world, a woman's worth is measured by the children she bears, and Rachel feels invisible, overshadowed by her sister's growing family. Her identity is wrapped in motherhood, and envy consumes her as Leah bears son after son. Each new birth is a reminder of what Rachel lacks, and the ache in her heart only deepens. She watches Leah cradle her sons, feeling both longing and resentment. Jacob, caught between the sisters, is frustrated and helpless. He reminds Rachel that only God can open a womb, but his words offer little comfort. The tension in their marriage grows as hope turns to bitterness. Rachel, unwilling to wait, gives her maid Bilhah to Jacob, hoping to build a family through her. In this ancient custom, a servant's child could be claimed as her own. Bilhah bears Dan, and then Naphtali, Rachel's victories, in a painful family contest. But these triumphs are bittersweet, for the emptiness in Rachel's heart remains. Leah, not to be outdone, gives her maid Zilpah to Jacob, determined to keep her place in the family's story. Zilpah bears Gad and Asher, adding to Leah's tally and fueling the rivalry further. Each child becomes a point scored in a relentless rivalry, deepening the sisters' wounds. The home is filled with tension, as every birth is met with both celebration and silent pain. What should be a blessing, children, becomes ammunition in their struggle. The laughter of children is tinged with sorrow, as the sisters compete for love and approval. The home is now a battlefield of birth announcements, with each woman desperate to outdo the other. Their rivalry overshadows the joy that new life should bring. Their story warns us, when we let envy rule, even our blessings become burdens. The sisters, once close, are now divided by jealousy and pain, unable to see the gifts they already have. God is present, quietly working behind the scenes, but the sisters are too busy competing to notice his gentle hand guiding their destinies. The rivalry sets the stage for God's surprising intervention, a reminder that even in our struggles, hope and redemption can break through. The rivalry takes a strange turn when Leah's son Reuben finds mandrakes, ancient symbols of fertility. Rachel, desperate for a child, begs Leah for the mandrakes. Leah, hurt and resentful, accuses Rachel of taking both her husband's love and now her son's gift. In a sad bargain, Rachel trades a night with Jacob for the mandrakes. The intimacy of marriage is reduced to a transaction, highlighting the sisters' pain. God listens to Leah, and she bears more children, Issachar, Zebulun, and a daughter Dinah. Yet, despite her growing family, Leah still longs for love. The mandrakes, meant to bring hope, only deepen the sisters' ache. Even in their schemes, God's grace quietly moves. At last, God remembers Rachel, not because he forgot, but because he's ready to act. Rachel conceives and gives birth to Joseph, declaring, "God has taken away my reproach." Joseph's name means both taken away and may he add, capturing Rachel's relief and renewed hope. Her years of striving end not through schemes or bargains, but by God's gift. This moment transforms Rachel's story. Her faith, once shaken, is now restored. The rivalry and pain fade as God's timing brings joy. Joseph's birth is a beacon. True fulfillment comes from God, not our own efforts. Even after long nights of waiting, God brings a new day. Joseph's birth sparks a change in Jacob. He's ready to return home and claim his own future. After years of serving Laban, Jacob asks for his family and freedom. Laban, realizing Jacob is the source of his prosperity, tries to keep him by offering any wage. Laban's motives are selfish. He values Jacob's blessing more than Jacob himself. Jacob faces a test. Will he trust God to provide or remain trapped by Laban's manipulation? This moment sets up a final challenge. Jacob must break free and build his own legacy. The story shifts from rivalry to a test of faith and ingenuity. God's promise to Jacob is about to unfold in unexpected ways. Jacob proposes a bold plan. He'll take only the speckled and spotted animals as his wages, leaving the rest for Laban. Laban, thinking he's outsmarted Jacob, removes all such animals from the flock. But Jacob, trusting God, uses a strange breeding method with streaked rods. God blesses Jacob's faith, causing the strongest animals to bear speckled and spotted offspring. Jacob's wealth grows, while Laban's flocks weaken. What looks like clever breeding is really God's intervention. Jacob's trust is rewarded. He prospers even under Laban's oppression. God turns the tables, proving he alone is the source of blessing. Jacob's journey of faith is now marked by God's unmistakable favor. What does this story teach us? When we look at the lives of Rachel, Leah, and Jacob, we see real people wrestling with disappointment, longing, and the temptation to take matters into their own hands. Their struggles are not so different from our own. We, too, often wonder if God hears our prayers or notices our pain. Envy and comparison rob us of joy. Rachel and Leah both missed their blessings by focusing on what they lacked. When we measure our worth against others, we lose sight of the unique gifts God has given us. Their story reminds us that comparison is a thief, stealing our peace and gratitude. God's timing, not our schemes, brings true fulfillment. No matter how hard we try to control outcomes, lasting joy comes when we surrender our plans and trust that God knows what is best for us, even when the wait feels long. Rachel's peace came only when she let God act. It was in her surrender, not her striving, that she found rest. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is to pause, pray, and let God move in his perfect way. Even in unfair situations like Jacob's with Laban, God can prosper us. When we feel mistreated or overlooked, God is still at work behind the scenes, turning hardship into opportunity and growth. Our circumstances don't limit God's power. He can bless us anywhere. Whether we are in a place of abundance or in a season of waiting, God's love and provision reach us right where we are. Genesis 30 is a story of God's faithfulness despite human flaws. It's a reminder that God's promises are not dependent on our perfection, but on his steadfast love and mercy. He works through imperfect people, redeeming their messes for his purpose. Our brokenness does not disqualify us. Instead, it becomes the canvas for God's grace and redemption. If you're waiting, struggling, or feeling overlooked, remember, God sees you and hasn't forgotten. He knows your heart, your hopes, and your tears, and he is working in ways you may not yet see. Trust his timing and let gratitude replace comparison. When we focus on what we have, rather than what we lack, our hearts open to joy and contentment. Your story is part of a bigger plan, one filled with hope, grace, and unexpected blessings. God is weaving together every moment, even the difficult ones, for a purpose greater than we can imagine. May you walk in the assurance that you are seen, remembered, and deeply loved by God. Trust Him with your story and watch as He brings beauty from every season of your life.